Okay, good evening. This is day 103 of making little videos about describe a day or thought in the life of schizophrenic. I make these videos to describe some amount of sanity amidst the world going crazy and warring upon me and driving me crazy and inflicting schizophrenia on me. I believe that I suffer from schizophrenia. I've been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, but I don't believe it is a disease or a craziness in my brain. I think it is a reality to be experienced. On day 17 of these videos, I describe why I call myself a schizophrenic rather than targeted individual. And on day 45, I have a 3-minute intro, and then the rest of the video discusses something else. But day 45, 3-minute intro will give you an idea why I make these videos. I've written a book on medium.com that describes why I may have been targeted, and it also has some amount of research on voice hearing technologies and stalking technologies and both social technologies, political technologies, and digital or machine. Okay, so that's on medium.com calling Unveiling the Schizophrenic Tradition. And I was going to start off on something today. I describe these little thoughts to get into why I may have been targeted on a daily basis and give some amount of synchronicity that takes place. And I saw this thing that there's some Quakers that are walking across the United States, or walking 300 miles or something, as a march or in protest to Trump's immigration policies and the way he's targeting other groups of people in the country. And this reminded me of something I said the other day, which is that, not all, they had a picture of two white men, Quakers, there's other type Quakers or whatever. But I wanted to reiterate that something I said the other day, which is that not all white men are the same. And there may be some sort of mind virus that percolates through the greater white male population in America, but we are not all the same. And the White Project itself tried to erase diversity in thought and opinion and experience and culture and histories, familial histories going back for a long time, and it tried to homogenize it. And I've said before that perhaps that saved Europe from wars for the last 100 years or so since World War II, but it was not it was not a very good thing for the societies in America or other places in the world, because the white power project waged a war on the other types of races of people, and race is just a construct, and these are the things I think and stuff. So, I wish we could get back to kind of what Obama was getting into, which is that we are beyond our race, but at the same time, you can't. I understand what people say, you can't ignore race, because there is a uh, social construct where there's political power in being white. And I have expressed in another video where, uh, as other groups of people come into positions of power, there's potential for other types of racism beyond white racism. But white racism is obviously the most entrenched and has the historical power that comes with it. So, the other ones are like baby racisms or whatever. You know, uh, I experienced I think that Obama targeted me because I was white, and I opposed the Democratic Party for a time, and I thought they were corrupt. And so I thought they were working in cahoots with Republicans, and I still pretty much do. Uh, Even though I'll take a I know it's a game. It's like a political manipulation that goes on, and so uh, they're at odds, but like they're also like two wings of the bird, and like the Pepsi and Coke and stuff, whatever you want to call it. And uh yeah, so I understand that there can be racism that comes from other people in positions of power, and there's also racism within the white construct, like somebody who is from Sweden or whatever might not look at somebody from Greece the same way, or somebody from England or whatever might not look at, and then there's back and forth between white people or whatever. So, like I say, the white project kind of homogenizes people, and I was reminded of that as I saw these Quakers marching for immigrants' rights in the United States. And I think that some of the things that took place with regard to racial politics in the last few years was to isolate left-leaning white males, and because left-leaning white males are like socialist white males, they're an antidote to the capitalist system because the capitalist system runs off the white male power. And so if white males start saying, we think we should be a socialist country, or maybe not necessarily be a socialist country, but like be more social programs for people or whatever, that's an antidote to this this, I don't know what you want to call it, but this Proud Boy thing where people start saying like they're championing misogyny and all this, and capitalism and individualism and rugged individualism and violence and all this. And so, like, if you have left leaning white males in positions of messaging, that it's an antidote to the white male dominance of American power and stuff. So that I think some of the racial politics was designed to isolate people, and it was probably like FBI counterintelligence program. I know I experienced that on a steroid level, so I saw this Quakers, and I just wanted to point that out. And so that reminds me of something else. We call the deep. We've been calling. Someone posted that we've been calling these deportations that Trump does, but they're really kidnappings, and they are human trafficking to other countries because they're sending them people to like Libya and El Salvador, and it's like just sending them to random countries or whatever. They're kidnapping them. They're not giving them due process. Okay, once you don't give someone due process, you're not doing a deportation process anymore. You're doing kidnapping. And so that's I'll try to use that language going forward if I talk about it in general in society or elsewhere. And so yeah, so I'll go ahead and do that going forward. Uh, Out here in Santa Clarita, I was going to change topics here. Out here in Santa Clarita, one of the joys of the summer months is going out into outside spaces, either walking in the park or going out to ice cream or something outside, or get if you have a backyard, going out into your backyard or something, or uh, and the summer months are very nice. But one thing that's been going on the last few years is there's been these like little midges, or like I don't know, little mosquitoes, and they bite the ankles of people, and people come in complaining all over the place. So one of the remedies that's being postulated now is that you can put folgers on your grass, and Folgers coffee apparently, or just any coffee, but Folgers supposedly works best. And I was wondering, why does Folgers work best? Because uh, it's like is there chemical in the Folgers? I don't know. So I was wondering. Sometimes you hear these things, and it's like, you just do this natural remedy, and like you wonder like how natural is the thing that you're putting out for that's killing the bugs. Like why don't the bugs like it? But hopefully it's just natural. Okay, so I was wondering if now going back into ICE and stuff and like the kidnappings and the human trafficking of people, ICE is maybe trying to start riots by setting up these detention centers in democratic run cities against elected officials' wishes or whatever. And it makes you think that, like, the other day they arrested that Mayor Raz Baraka, I think is his name, of Newark, and it was kind of chaotic. And it makes you wonder if they're trying to start riots because they're at the same time they're doing these things. They're they're talking about suspending habeas corpus, and this is something that goes back to like the 1300s. So they're trying to take us back to, I don't know, is that the Dark Ages? Is habeas corpus Dark Ages or something? And it's like, we joke that it's the Dark Ages. Like, no, they're really gonna do it or whatever. Now, I know Lincoln suspended habeas corpus during the Civil War, so they're beating their chest with this war footing that they're on, and they're attacking women-owned businesses for that with these tariffs and stuff because a lot of women have uh, small businesses and stuff, so they're really going after and equity and inclusion. They're going after women there and stuff. So it's like uh, these people are crazy, and so I don't know how anybody could be for them after watching what they've done for the last 100 days or 200 days, or I guess it's 110 days or something, 130 days or something. So yeah. Uh, I was gonna say something that like I saw this clip of Theodore Roosevelt today, and I'm not particularly fond of Theodore Roosevelt because of what he did with eugenics and stuff like that. But you take the insanity of past presidents, and even in their insanity, there's some amount of class, or there's like some amount of decorum, or there's like some amount of wisdom necessary, somewhat like like in the way they treated the office of the presidency and stuff, and compared to Trump, so like I was Theodore Roosevelt was saying like patriotism is loyalty to one's country, not to one's president. And Trump's suspending habeas corpus and violating due process for people in America is disregarding American traditions. And immigration is not a war. It's not a war that people are in with immigration or whatever. So, uh, people are coming here, they're working the fields, they're working in farms and stuff, slaughterhouses, things like that. Like uh, they're living in cities, they're sending their kids to school, they're trying to get educated. Uh, I mean, you have a handful of people who have other ideas or whatever, like, maybe I think, well, this was, I'm going to say this, like, one of the things that I think drives this immigration thing is in some respects, is like there's like a moral righteousness to people or who think that like they're fighting fentanyl shipments into the country, and probably there is some amount of people that are motivated on that level because of what's gone on for a while, but like you know that's still a minority of people involved in that kind of thing. And the people use that as an excuse to say like we're in a war, and they are practicing collective punishment and violating people's human rights. And so, yeah, so, but I just wanted to say that, like, there's wisdom in other presidents from the past, no matter even when they were kind of insane in some respects. There's some sort of amount of wisdom that came from people from the past, and so compared to Trump, and uh, it's kind of it's yeah, all it can do is just say it's sad. But all right, I gotta stop. All right, thank you so much. Goodbye.